Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a very serious show. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, we're trying to hit our goal of 200,000 subs by the end of this month. We really appreciate it if you guys helped us reach that goal. Anyway, let me get into this topic. So this morning, I opened up my Instagram. Again, if you guys are not following me on Instagram, my Instagram handle is CTABANZ. If you want to follow the channel, same name as the channel, DREAMERSPRO on Instagram. Anyway, I open my inbox and sometimes I respond to some of the viewers of the channel that follow me on Instagram. And one of the viewers sent me a message, and I don't want to disclose his name because maybe he's not into that. But anyway, he sent me a message and he goes, I saw the video that you did just yesterday talking about, I believe, the JJ Redick video of him potentially, Shannon Fry's comments on JJ Redick potentially becoming the next head coach of the LA Lakers. And then towards the end of that video, I was going to start commenting on, LeBron's son, Bronny James. But then I decided to withhold my commentary. Because I said at the time that, you know, he's a kid and I don't like talking about people's kids. So he's like, I understand your perspective and all of this. And he's like, but I just want to point something out to you. Bronny James is 19 years old. He then said something else. He said, what I've noticed is that when you look at a person like Stephen A. Smith went on a personal crusade to tarnish the reputation and standing of Kwame Brown as an NBA player within the NBA. So he said, my question is, why did Stephen A. Smith feel so comfortable to trash Kwame Brown for all of those years? But when it came time for him to discuss Bronny James, all of a sudden he wants to be a tactician. He wants to be careful about what he says. And I was like, wow, that's a very good point. And it made me have to address it. And I told him, I said, I have to make me think about it that way. And Bronny James is 19. And he is probably going to become an NBA player. It's like, he makes a very solid point. So then I started to think to myself, like, what does he mean? So what I decided to do this morning was I said, okay, you know what? Let's get a quick compilation of clips of Stephen A. Smith basically trashing Kwame Brown as an NBA player. And then we want to show you the juxtaposition of him talking about LeBron James' son and how there's a totally different tone and approach to his method. But before we even get into that, this video is brought to you by our brand new sponsor, Game Time, who's the official sponsor of today's show. Game Time Tickets is an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets faster and easier than ever. For example, I am super excited about the games between the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves this week. With Game Time Tickets, I can easily pick the best tickets for me. I love that I can choose between different deals. I have the option to select the cheaper deal, the best option deal, or my favorite, the flash deal. The flash deal gives me the option to find discounts that I can only find on Game Time. Once I select the ticket I want, I can view my seat. And it's not just restricted to the NBA. I can also look for the best ticket deals for other sports like football, baseball, or concerts, or comedy or theater shows. Included in my purchase, I also have a 24-hour return guarantee, a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is we want to first play a compilation of some of the things that Stephen A. Smith has said about Kwame Brown over the years, and then we're going to come back. Take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say here.
Did LA give up too much to get a guy who has been labeled soft, although he puts up 19-9, which only 11 other guys do?
Is that a trick question?
You tell me.
They gave up Kwame Brown.
Two
Who
first
cares?
rounders.
I could care less.
Tied into his salary for 4 years.
First of all, understand something. When you're giving up first round picks, if you are a quality team in playoff contention, it really doesn't mean that much. That's number one. Number two, and more importantly, Kwame Brown is gone. The City of Angels, Hollywood, just should be celebrated. Throw a parade already, whether you win a championship or not. This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry to tell everybody the truth. The man cannot play the game of basketball. He has small hands. He can't catch the ball. He's got bad feet. He can't really move, even though he's mobile. Doesn't really know what he's doing. Doesn't have a post move that he puts to memory that he can do 2 times in a row. He has no game whatsoever. Plays no defense. Doesn't have the heart, the passion, or anything that comes with it. And you're asking me whether they gave up too much? Please. The Los Angeles Lakers knew exactly what they were doing. They should be celebrating right now, and Kobe Bryant should not be saying a word.
But Stephen A., nobody knows how good Pau Gasol is. He's never played in a meaningful NBA game.
But it doesn't matter because he's replacing Kwame Brown. And when you take it to the fact that you're replacing nothing, that makes you something, which is a plus. And that's the way to look at this situation. Kwame Brown, God bless him, is a scrub. He can't handle the ball, can't post up, can't do anything, can't play defense. The Lakers were struggling. They were mired in complete disgust, knowing that they were on the brink of mediocrity anytime he was on the floor because he couldn't get it done. Now you've got Pau Gasol. You pair him with Andrew Bynum. You didn't give up Lamar Odom either, and you still got Fisher and Kobe? Please. This is a beautiful deal. Not to mention the fact that you saved.
Please. The only negative thing anybody ever said about Kwame Brown is that he couldn't play a lick of basketball. Newsflash! That wasn't a lie. When you put yourself and you put your game out there in the best league in the world, people can comment on it because you're putting your talents on public display.
So you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say about Kwame Brown. You heard it. He didn't hold back. He was calling him a bum. He was calling him a scrub. He doesn't know how to play basketball and all those things. Now, if we look at the case of Bronny James, a lot of people are saying he's not NBA ready. He's not an NBA player. And people can point to his stats, his play, and all of that. But when it comes to Stephen A. Smith, he is very, very reluctant to take a strong position the way he did with Kwame Brown over the years. And I find that to be interesting. So what we want to do is want to play a little bit of what Stephen A. Smith recently had to say about Bronny James and why he's reluctant to critique him. And then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say here.
I don't know that. I'm not saying it isn't. Perk, I've done it purposefully. I have not watched. I didn't watch him play in high school. Mm-hmm. All I've ever seen of him was highlights because I knew that the world was going to be incredibly cruel and unfair to him and judging him with an extra level of scrutiny that I don't believe he deserves. His family obviously is wonderful. No matter what critique we want to give to LeBron, and I certainly ain't shy about doing it. One thing I will never deny is what a good man he is, what a great father he is, what a great family man he is, and how much he loves his children, and how supportive he has been for Bronny James. And I don't say this in any kind of negative way, just pointing to reality. Bronny James entering the NBA, putting himself to enter the NBA draft with the numbers that he has, that he produced at USC, combined with his questionable health for the moment, inevitably what that means is that you're doing this because you're Bronny James. You're the son of LeBron James, and that's going to warrant consideration. What they have to understand is that in and of itself is going to invite the exact thing I don't want for him. And that's that extra layer of scrutiny.
So you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say in both occasions. Before I get to him, let me talk about myself. I think I took the wrong position yesterday by saying I won't discuss Bronny James because I was looking at it from the standpoint, well, he's someone's kid. And I try to avoid that. But in this particular instance, he's now becoming an NBA player. And if he's becoming an NBA player, and if I'm going to have a position on any player, whether they're positive or negative, if they're an NBA player, they're an NBA player. When I go at Ben Simmons and some other guys that I've gone at in the past, or Lou Williams or whoever, I went at them. I didn't get into the thing, oh, they're somebody's son or whatever. All these people are somebody's son. But in the case of Bronny James, I was reluctant because I was still looking at him as a kid because we've been talking about him since he's been a very, very young man, a kid. But now he's becoming an adult. Very soon he's going to be 20 years old and he's going to be in the NBA, whatever. I think he's going to be in the NBA. And therefore, it is fair and within and in bounds to talk about him and take a strong position the way you would talk about any other player. For instance, last night in a game against the Denver Nuggets, Jamal Murray played like trash. I think he finished that game with like 10 or 7 points. He played like garbage. And I'm going to call him out. And I don't get into the whole thing of, oh, he's somebody's son and all of that. You just call what you see. And in the case of Bronny James, if in fact he's going to be an NBA player, if we're going to be giving him all of this attention like we would give an all-star and any other prospect, then you have to call it down the line and call it exactly how you see it. So I understand his point, and he made me change my mind on that position by presenting that argument. In the case of Stephen A. Smith, why is there a different tone? The different tone is, I think personally, is simply because of this. I said it before and I'm going to say it again. Stephen A. Smith respects power and money. Those are the very two things he respects. And he only goes at people hard that he believes somehow he's above them in some way, shape, or form. That's what I believe. In the case of Kwame Brown, Kwame was a first-round draft pick that didn't probably live up to the expectation that a lot of people had of him. So it seemed like everyone had come to a consensus like, this guy isn't really good, so I can just pile on. And there wasn't any powerful figure that was tied to Kwame Brown that could confront a Stephen A. Smith. But in the case of Bronny James, there is, and that person is LeBron James. And they have a very intimate relationship in terms of ESPN and LeBron and the NBA and all of that. So he's going to think twice and thrice before he talks about Bronny James the way he you think. Hold up, you think Stephen A. Smith going to come on TV and call Bronny James a bum or a scrub? Or he can't play? You honestly think that's going? It will never happen. Whether if it's true or not, he will never, ever do it. Kwame didn't get spared. In the case of Bronny James, he will get spared, and I think it's because of who he's related to and who he's connected to, and I don't think Stephen A. Smith has the balls to cross the line the way he did with Kwame Brown, and he continued to double down years later. Right, he continued to double down on it. So I thought this would be a pretty interesting topic to present to the audience. I thought it was very, very interesting. And I said, hey, why not let us produce it today and see what you guys think? So what do you think about the ideas that we presented in today's show? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.